Guys, it is that time of the day we call good morning. And let's see, we currently got our tunnel bear running? No, we do not. So that's bad. They don't want to let the bat. Alright, so right now, because I didn't start tunnel bear up before I started the stream. And unless I want to restart the stream again from scratch, screw that. Let's see how it goes with barefoot. So, good morning, everybody, and of course, today is Wednesday morning, and it's gonna be a little bit warmer than yesterday, but not really by a lot. I think it's going to be a high of about 28 degrees. And I can verify that real quick here. Right now it is pretty civil out there. It's actually hospitable. It's currently right now it is 24 degrees Celsius. So it's not bad. Refrigerator's cool it. It's running. That's a good thing, and it's certainly cold enough in there. So, I noticed we lost 2 subs yesterday. Probably 2 trolls that were a little bit upset that I showed them the door. But you know what? Tell you a secret, guys, about the trolls. I'm talking about the malicious ones. They are not. Those are persons non grata over here. I don't want to deal with the really malicious ones that are unspeakably nasty. The ones that are not nasty, I don't mind as much, but the ones that go out of their way to cause nothing but pain, suffering, and trauma, I don't really want to deal with you guys. Alright, so what's going on today? Well, not a lot. I was looking into alternatives for data plans because of the a couple things with the T-Mobile package that it's kind of like the old Late and Lively commercial. I think I already did it. Yeah. So you're looking to see what's the cheaper choice, and you're going like, gee, how much data do I really need? And so you're looking at this data plans, and they're saying is, oh, by the way, you can get the 5G plan and has 100 gigabytes of data for the same price. I'm like, whoop-de-doo. 5 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes of data is nice, but I don't even think I'm going to be using 50. So, honestly, what good is 100 gigabytes going to do me? If I don't even need 60 gigabytes, if I don't even need 20 gigabytes, then why would I want more data? It's not like I'm in a data crunch. In fact, right now, what T-Mobile's doing is kind of a real turnoff, because what they're doing is, and part of it is because they don't have really much of a choice, is more and more people using mobile hotspots, and especially with the T-Mobile home internet. All of a sudden now, instead of allocating that you can get the maximum upload rate or whatever it is, like my old device was like 25 gigabytes. I mean, not 25 gigabytes, 25 megabytes per second. They were like, Actually, it's 25 megabits, I think it says. Yeah, 25 megabits. 25 megabits. Okay, this thing, you have to seriously kind of download our speed a bit because everybody else is using it. So we're going to reduce your data rate down to 1.83 megabits per second. Wait a minute! 1.83 megabits per second is what I'm paying for with Frontier. You mean to tell me basically I'm paying for a second Frontier? Yep. Pretty much. Oh, like facepalm. Wait a minute. What's the difference? Well, we don't have wires. You son of No! I mean, come on! Give me a break already, will you? This is ridiculous. I'm paying all this money for a data plan, and it's like, it's no better, no faster than my home DSL is. Because they had to reduce sailboat rate because everybody else, including the brother, was using T-Mobile home internet. Like, how loud did anyone ever tell you that was going to happen? Of course they didn't, but I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Nobody was going to catch on to the good deal. Ooh, I can upload 25 megabits per second. Wow. Yeah, by the way, I'm just exaggerating the sound effects. Don't worry about it. The thing is, you're talking all of this data. Of course, everybody, including their brother-in-law, wants it. They're going for it, because that's just the way people are. They want the best deal right now. Can't say the same thing for cattle ranchers, though. Unfortunately, cattle ranchers are getting out of the market. Especially in the Midwest, because they can't afford to raise the cattle anymore. They're sending them to feedlots. Even younger cows and younger bulls. They're sending them to feedlots early because they can't afford to feed them anymore. Because it's gotten so expensive. As farmers are saying is, I just gotta get max as much as I can from my cattle I get now, cut my losses and get out. And that's what they're doing. They're leaving the industry because they cannot afford to pay to keep the cattle fed. With the high price of hay, feed, fuel for the tractors, they just can't make it. They're not able to finance this. And so I guess the question comes up is, whose fault's that? It's not the farmers. The farmers aren't doing this. It's the problem is Biden administration. That's where part of the problem is. Because Biden, using what the United States Secretary of Agriculture, United States USDA, Department of Agriculture, would have said to the farmers, look, we're going to give you assistance to make sure that you can feed America. 1% of American farmers, or 1% of American population is feeding the other 99% of it. Talk about putting a lot of weight on a poor farmer's shoulders. They can't afford to feed the animals. They can't afford to make sure that they can keep the animals fed, and yet they have to basically make a profit. How can you do that? It's a bear market out there, especially in the agricultural commodities. So if you wonder why your price of your steaks is going up, that's why. In fact, now, an analyst reported regular white bread in Canada, is going up to $10 a loaf of bread. A regular white bread is up to $10 a loaf. And that's in Canadian. Holy crap, you want to be, that's expensive. Just for a loaf of wonder. Or Freihofer. Or dry corns. You're talking a regular loaf of bread. Nothing special. Because there's a shortage of wheat. Because of the drought, farmers can't raise wheat. Farmers can't raise hay for the other guys' cattle. People can't raise soybeans. People can't get any kind of crops going out there in the Midwest. They're abandoning their fields. Fields are allowed to die because they can't make any money. Yeah, things are that bad out there. Things are that bad out there. Some people are not making money right now. The agriculturists are like, what are we going to do? We got to feed our animals, but we can't because they can't get grains. We can't get hay. We can't get feeds for the winter. And everybody likes a steak, right? But now to get your steak, it's going to put you in steak. It says to me, well, maybe the next few years they're going to cancel the food stamp program. I said, no. I don't think so, Ed. More than ever, we need the food stamp program. The food stamp program is a core fact of what's keeping America going right now. So the emergency pandemic funds, and the 30 states that do it. It's important because people need that program for the higher costs associated with having to buy groceries in the store. Now, what I was curious is, and I'm going to ask Siri this because I want to know the story about this. How you doing, Parsley? I'll ask Siri on my phone. When was the United States food stamp program created?
Here's what I found from cbpp.org. The food stamp program was established on a pilot basis in the early 1960s and extended nationwide in the early 1970s to help low-income families and individuals purchase a nutritionally adequate diet.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
All right. So, 1960s, 1970s. And once it's a safety net that exists to make sure that people can afford adequate nutritious meals and get it. And you can think about this. If it wasn't for the emergency pandemic food stamps that we have right now, a lot of us would definitely be in deep trouble. Because, look, guys, things got up so expensive that it helps to offset the costs of groceries. Yeah, but you know what? I paid into the system because I did work at one time. So, these safety nets existed because there was a need then. Just as like the Social Security program was created under FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, at the time of the Great Depression. Okay? That's a little bit after the Great Depression, right before World War II. Because there was a lot of elderly that had no assistance at all, no savings, because any savings they had was wiped out because of the Great Depression. We're heading towards a greater depression, not just economically, but mentally. Americans are so depressed and so stressed because of everything that's going on. So you have another form of a Great Depression going on, or a greater depression in the form of mental illness because of all the stuff that's going on. Right. How do you think, Democles? How many years did you work? Well, let's see. I worked on and off in a few different jobs. I worked from 1994 to 1995, and then I worked from 1996 to 1999. That's about it. But then I also had a few other small jobs when I was in high school. The problem with me was my eyesight was bad enough that I really couldn't keep working. So unfortunately, that's why I was discharged from my jobs, because of my eyesight. It wasn't because I didn't do the job. It was because my eyesight was so bad that they couldn't really work around my eyesight issues anymore. America is one of the only countries with poor people. Well, okay, let's talk about the homeless for a minute, because there's two competing ideas of how to deal with homelessness. The first is called the continuing care, and the other one is called housing first. Now, housing first is everybody gets housing regardless of ability, okay? This was a pilot program that was originally instituted in Finland and was experimented with in some European and a few U.S. states. Basically, is you get the housing so you can clean yourself up, get your heads together. Continuing care part of it, as in like psycho counseling, whatever, is optional. Okay, continuing care, however, is the opposite. You gotta go through all this continuing care programs before you get housing. In other words, housing is the last step. Well, what if the person is homeless not because of anything like drug addiction or substance abuse, but just because of lack of economic ability to afford housing? Neither continuing care considers that. They considered everybody who's homeless is homeless because of drug or substance abuse or mental illness. They don't consider you may be homeless because you just can't afford it. There's a treaty which the United States is a signatory of, which says that housing is a basic right. And yet, we don't really seem to keep up with our side of the signatory and making housing more available. However, a few home participating housing authorities have decided to go under the Housing First program. A lot of them chose to remain part of the continuing care program. When it comes to who does better, it depends. I would say a large majority of people have said that they're in the Housing First program is that they get a chance to stabilize themselves, get into a home. Then they have an identity, they have a place to go. Then they can go ahead and take care of any issues such as substance abuse, depression, manic, anxiety, whatever. I agree that would be a good choice. But the problem is that no one has forgotten the elephant in the room, which in the United States is housing has become a commodity, and a real estate is a game for the rich and well-to-do. That's one of the reasons why you have so many abandoned properties are basically sitting there abandoned because no one can sell them. So we need to get some of these real estate people to understand that housing is not a game or commodity chess piece like gold and silver or, the grains or whatever in the mercantile exchange, but rather it's essential. And that housing should remain affordable. Companies like BlackRock don't care BlackRock, which is a multinational corporation, multidisciplinary organization, has one thing on its mind: the bottom line. So when they buy a house, it's a top dollar, and then they go ahead and they rent them out for top dollar. They want top dollar tenants because that's going to enrich their bottom line. By the way, the result of the Finnish program change has resulted in homelessness being virtually eliminated in Finland. They do have about 5,000 homeless in the entire country of about 6 million people. 5,000 homeless people who chose to remain homeless. Okay? That's quite a big difference from what they were facing before. So, to say that, excuse me, Krista is not a freeloader, John. John, are you trying to start trouble? Because if you are, be careful. Krista has a wrench. You don't. Okay? Don't start trouble on this channel, because if you don't behave, I'll boink you fast. Okay? Yes, John, there's a lot of people that take advantage of the system, but Krista's not one of those people, and neither am I. Okay? But then sometimes the system has made itself a lol in its own way. Let me explain why. I say it's an LOLCOW. Because the system comes up with rules and makes it so easy for everybody, including the brother, to get on there for everything as simple as bad breath and a hangnail. Which is true. Look at the eligibility guidelines for Social Security Supplemental. SSI. Bad breath, hangnails, pregnancy, right? To some of the most stupid things to things that do make some sense, okay? The point I'm trying to say is the system seems to be saying, come on in, the door's wide open. You can come in and get free benefits from us. We made it possible for every possible condition to get them. Yes, they did. But the real people that want to have real hardships like myself, which is registered blind, partially deaf, had no problem getting in because we had valid reasons. But bad breath? Hello! I don't have bad breath, but I'm just trying to say is why you have to be so open? And then you wonder why lawyers like Bender and Binder and other organizations are sitting there getting people on the doles. Of course they are, because you made it too easy. But not saying that the system itself is easy once you get in the door. Oh, okay, I think I've got halitosis. Okay. Okay, so you got a letter from your doctor. Yeah, I got a letter from your doctor. You got letters from this one, got letters from that one. They're going to review you. Takes a couple years, 3 years, 4 years to get in. Even though it says, biotechnology, you should be giving your SSI benefits even for halitosis. So who's the locale? It's the Social Security Administration. Okay, Health and Human Services. Because they made it too easy. How you doing, Andrew? Yeah, let's get you on the panel. I didn't get you up yet. I gotta get the panel started. All right, let me start by getting the donation up first. Yeah. Okay. But what I'm saying is this too. You guys can understand this. The system is broken. They're doing exactly what they expected them to be doing. Okay? Yes, I'm wearing black today because right now my white tops are in the laundry. Ready to go to the laundromat with Krista. Yeah. But you know what? The point is what I said is true. It's a system. It's broken. It's broken. And the thing is, as long as the system's broken, people are not going to get things done. It's that simple. Okay, Andrew, ready? Come on. Good morning. How you doing? How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing fine. Yesterday I had a little bit of food poisoning, I think. But I'm feeling a little bit better
Food
today.
poisoning from what in the hell did you eat?
It was like one of these sort of mixed restaurants where you can pick a choice of Indian, Chinese, Malaysian food and stuff like that. And I
Sounds
picked
more
the
like
whole lot, and
a
obviously
guaranteed form
something
of
happened.
indigestion.
Huh?
I said it sounds more like a guaranteed case of indigestion.
Oh no, Michelle, indigestion is when it hits your chest, but this was in the stomach. I was up like 4 times.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't too good. And I knew myself it had to be something like that because I've
Yeah.
never really had that
A
before.
restaurant like that, it's a mix of multiple cultural restaurants. Sounds like a guaranteed for, like I said, get you indigestion because some of the foods may not gel well together.
No, there was nothing like that. I don't think anyway. But it was just more a case of it was a mixture of anything that was just put on plates, and you just help yourself to anything, and you literally can, and you could have it all day if you wanted to, for like £10.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lie. Maybe £18.
All right, so it's one of
Yeah.
those buffet things. All
Yeah,
you can eat
that's
for
the word. I couldn't
£10.
think of the word buffet. Yeah, a buffet.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. It was horrible. I mean, I was up like 4 times, and yesterday, I just couldn't. I couldn't even. I was flat out before, but when I went to that later on, I thought, oh my god, I hope Michelle's not doing a night show like tomorrow or to yesterday type of thing, because there's no way I could have even spoke.
Yeah.
But I slept well. Every time I shat myself, I had diarrhea or was puking, I still went back to sleep fine.
Well,
And then I shit myself in the bed like I went to the toilet.
well, I've had days where I basically woke up a couple times in the morning and had to take care of the clearing myself out. Yeah, that's
No, that was good. I managed to get to the toilet in time.
yeah.
It woke me
Fortunately,
up,
by the way,
funnily enough,
guys,
at
people
the
who
same time.
don't know, Ed is walking on his own now, much more under his own power. So he doesn't use the walker as much now.
That's good to hear. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing
Good
fine.
to hear.
Limmy's fine.
John, it's good to see you. Krista, Dab, Trolling, Dabicles. Yep. Anyone that's here, good to see you guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
so
feeling washed out
anyway,
right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
we see our troublemaker troll that keeps going ding dong is in the panel, but he doesn't seem to stick around long enough to talk to anybody.
Who is it? Do you know who it is?
Yeah, it's someone named Edwards.
That
Cassie
seems suspicious.
Edwards.
Yeah, for a start. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Ed's doing a lot better, guys. Look, he's not
That's good
as.
to hear.
He's even cooking food again, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like the fun is my refrigerator's cool it. It's back to its old good self again, freezing things in the freezer and refrigerating milk in the milks in the refrigerator section.
Okay.
I don't know what we did differently.
Which it should be.
Basically, we decided to put it back to its normal unlivable state, and it seems to work better. So, we'll figure that one out.
Okay.
But if it works, knock on wood, right? We don't know when.
Yep.
We don't know when the
Knocking it all
landlord's
the
gonna
time.
come go and
You
say.
just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, what's the point of even doing the ding dong if you're not even gonna give anybody a chance to answer the stupid phone?
Is there a way, Michelle, that you can like take off the noise for certain people that have kept trying to call in?
Yeah, the thing is that it would be nice if there was a way I could actually silence that. I tried to find a way to silence that on the panel, and that they don't have an option in Google Meets where you can turn off the notification sound.
Well, could you have a buzzing sound? Like when I say a buzzing sound, I mean like a vibration, so only you would know about it and not everyone would hear it.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is I want to send a feedback to people over there at Google Meets and say, is there any way you can actually turn off the notification sound when someone wants to join the panel? I've got people abusing that, and I really kind of would like to silence it so that, at least flash me messages on the screen, but not actually make a sound. Because, otherwise it just distracts my guests. When you got a troll that's constantly doing
I think it does, Michelle, but also in the same way, it lets people, say in case you didn't notice it, it would maybe let the other people watching, they say, oh, Michelle, there's somebody trying to get online and stuff like that. But I suppose you would know anyway. So.
Yeah. But it should be an option for me to basically silence that. How an alarm system has an alarm silence button. There needs to be a way I could just tell the notifications I don't want to have any kind of sound. Yeah, we can simply flash it on the screen, but instead that's fine. But
no, Michelle, I think there must be a way to silence it in some way. That way, you could have another signal, maybe a flashing thing.
Well, he's already flashing it anyway, but there's no reason
like
why.
That,
Let's see. Is there any way I can send feedback on this? Let's see.
Hey, Gianni, how you doing, pal?
Troubleshooting and help. Report abuse. Report a problem. I guess I can click report a problem, even though it's really not a problem. It's not really abuse.
You'd probably need like a million people, other million other people to do that, to actually make
report a problem might work.
Works,
Use a phone for audio? What the hell does that do? That's so if you want to make a phone call. Alright, so let's see if I can report. I don't see a feedback option. Oh, that would be the most appropriate one. Maybe report a problem, maybe? If there's a problem with your call, Google needs system. Okay. It's not really a problem.
Yep.
I just want to send a suggestion idea. That's what I want to do. Is there... Okay, I'm typing this. Okay. Is there a way...
John, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
This person is actually preventing me from typing. That's the first thing that's a bit of a problem. Is there a way... I can't even type because this son of a bitch doesn't even let me type. Alright, I'll just have to send it later. I was gonna
The
say,
only thing I
is
can
there
think of,
any
Michelle,
way
is if you maybe
that we
wrote
could
to
set
YouTube
the
themselves, like
notifications up so that we can set them
maybe
for silent? That way, so if you have a panel of people, the only one that knows people when the page come on would be the moderators or whoever's initiated the meeting.
Yeah, but it's not exactly that simple or straightforward, because it's always down to the channel owner, really, that has to change those things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It would be
Which
relatively
is
easy to do. I mean,
unfortunate.
after all, it's just a slight change to API. It's not really that big of a change. Just have a toggle, that says, okay, well, maybe I can set this.
Or one way of doing it, Michelle, is turn off the panels in terms of like being added towards them until you're ready, and then you might say to somebody or the channel, say, does anybody want to join the panel? And then you switch it back on again. I mean, there's always that.
Well, let's see now. Let's see if I can figure something. Activities, host controls. Okay, so let's see. Host management is on. Set chat messages. Turn on the microphones. Turn on the videos. I'm gonna turn that off because
John was saying,
is because of the porn bombing that happened last time.
Yeah, I know.
And so I think I'm gonna leave to turn the videos on off. Although I'd like to be able to have the videos. I will be honest, I would like to have that, but let's see. Is there any options? No, I don't see any kind of option to turn off notification sounds.
No, I've never heard of anything like that. But I just thought, excuse me, maybe there's a way of getting them to do it. It's either that or just turn off the panel altogether. But when I say turn off the panels altogether, keep the panels on if that's possible. But
well, what we could do is Andrew, on your Twitter, we have the link for your and my panel link. Why don't we use that? I'll close this one for now, and then we'll go back to that one instead, so we won't be so distracted.
Yeah, but there's other people involved, Michelle. It's not just myself and yourself. There's the channel itself,
Right.
And people are actually genuinely interested in it.
And people do like to come on the panel, legitimate people. That's true. That's what makes it hard.
Yeah, of course.
Did Ed sleep on the couch last night? No, he did not. Seems like you're more
Dub was
vigorous
asking
than
Michelle.
yesterday, although I read me that way because your friend. No, I actually did sleep a little bit last night, even though I had been sleeping next to me in the bed because he was.
Oh my God! Don't talk about sleep.
But at least I got some.
I had a bad enough day
decent
as it
sleep
was,
process.
and then went to this buffet place, and it was, as I said to you earlier on, it was Chinese, Indian, Malaysian, all these things you could just pick from.
Right. Well, what I'll do is,
I
will send an idea to Google after the end of this panel. I will go ahead after this panel. I will contact them at Google and say, how about the option to actually turn off the notification sound?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Dad was saying that Ed sleep on the couch last night. It seems like had a more vigorous than yesterday. You are more vigorous than yesterday, although you maybe
yesterday
are that way because Francis was in the panel.
Ed was edgy last night too because when he finally got caught up with what's going on with the cattle industry, he was like really, really kind of becoming upset because he didn't realize it was as bad as it is. I said, surprise! I could have told you that. I didn't just say that.
Ed must have known because he's seen it before. He's seen the way you've you've been like upset before, so I don't see how you can just suddenly say, "Oh, it's now I'm just realizing that Michelle has been upset in the past," or upset just
Oh,
now.
he seemed to be upset, but I mean, I think his last day was the first time he got upset. Because he was like thinking that everything was just okay and it was just a minor bump in the road and all that. And then when he saw that farmers were getting rid of their cattle and sending them to feedlots early, that kind of upset him because it was like, why aren't they doing this? I said, because they can't afford to feed them anymore, Ed.
Well, I would say, Michelle, as well, I don't think really you're the target. I think Ed is the target, to be honest.
Oh, the target of what?
The target of the trolls.
No, mostly I'm the one they go after, but even so, in the case of what we were covering last night, no one's the target of anything except the poor farmer just trying to feed his head of cattle and realize he can't because everything got too expensive.
I wasn't on yesterday, Michelle. I just could not even attempt to be on.
I know you weren't here You weren't here yesterday morning. I know that.
And
I
then
suspect there must have been a
coming
reason
out
why
after
you
work
weren't here.
and
You
then
probably
going
weren't
out to
feeling
my
well.
meeting.
Maybe.
Oh my god. Partially we're trying, but we don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Parsley saying, how you doing, Craig?
Hey, Craig, how you doing, pal?
I can't turn it off, Craig. I don't know how. They never offered an option in the panel to do that. They never gave an option in the panel how to shut the notification alert off. I tried everything I could think of. There's no option to turn that off.
Is there no mute version on that sort of section type of thing that you can maybe like turn down so nobody else can hear it?
No, there isn't an option for that either.
Okay.
There's no option to forward it to another sound device either.
I don't know, Michelle. I really don't know. I've never been in that situation, so.
So this is the reason why I'm.
Yeah, you too, mate. You too, pal.
But you know what, Craig? You know what we could do, Andrew? Why don't we just switch out of this one, go over to the link that's in your Twitter, and that way we can talk from that one for a while.
Yeah, but can everyone hear that? Can everyone else on the channel hear this?
Everybody else will be able. We'll be closing this channel and switching to that one, so then everybody will still be able to hear us on that one.
And say they want to join the panel, what can they do?
But they won't have to listen to Ding Dong.
I'm okay with it, but I mean, I'm just thinking about the other people who might want to talk on the channel as well.
Yeah, but right now with Mr. Ding Dong, we can't talk to anybody anyway. I can't even add them to the panels.
Well, Gianni just said, just answer and mute, and that's actually probably the way to do it.
I will have to send a message to the Google Workspace people for Google Meet and ask them if they can add a mute option or a notification silence option.
Well, I would suggest give Gianni's idea a try, because I think that actually might work.
Well, what's Gianni suggesting? He's saying...
He just said just answer the call, then mute the call, and that way, or block, and that way...
No, because you know what's going to happen? We did that, I tried to do that yesterday, and immediately he hung up on me, and then he came in here and duplicated himself like 15,000 rabbits. Because I couldn't block him fast enough.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. All right, so let me go ahead. Let me close this panel, and I'll join you on the other one that's in our Twitter account.
Yeah, I'll do that. All
right, so stand by, okay?
Okay,
right.
no worries.
Okay, so let me go to the Twitter account. Let's see, www. Twitter. Yeah. It's really disturbing when they do that. It is. There it is. There it is. Okay. Join now. Okay. And while I'm waiting for Andrew to join back in, why don't I go ahead and send that message now? Okay. Allow. Okay. I'm gonna send a suggested idea. How about... Okay, Andrew's coming on now. Let's get him on here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, close this first. Oh, come on. Yes, close. Okay, I was just gonna send a message over to the Google Meets team at the same time.
All right, okay. If you
So
want me to
I
come
can type
back
it
off,
while we're chatting now. So let me just type this, okay? It's not a problem.
Right.
I'm gonna give a suggestion for an idea. So let me just type this
No,
real
it's
quick
fine.
here.
It's fine.
Which is this is I would like to see an option to turn off the notification sound. I have trolls that abuse it and ring / hang up constantly. I would like to set it so I only get a text
Sorry, Michelle.
notification. I'm almost done. Instead.
This is Francois talking.
Boom. Okay, there we go. So now send that out. That's sent. Close window.
Yeah, but my point is, can everyone hear it on your channel?
So yeah, they can hear us on the channel.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, but then if they want to talk on the channel as well,
Right.
there must be a way to get them back
reopen the
on.
panel
So
for that. So
I think that's a bit unfair.
But for right now, because of what the trolls are doing,
Thanks, John.
it was just easier just to do this. I can still open the other panel at the same time.
Right.
But that's not going to stop It's not going to stop Ramalama Ding Dong over there.
I was gonna say that you're probably still gonna get people.
Because once I reopen this panel, he's going to still go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding
there you
dong.
Go. Well, it just happens, you know.
Even though he'll be in a panel by himself.
Yeah, I think
you, Michelle is just trying to typing a note to Google Meets. Yeah. Right. I actually said to them that I would like to have an option where I could turn off the notification sound, but still be able to receive a notification as a text, banner, or badge or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I explained, like, I have
Do you mean,
tools.
or could you use like a code or something that you could give to people on certain, like, for example, Twitter? You know, that's just an example in itself. Could you give them a special code that they could actually contact you?
Yeah. I don't want that work.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking.
Theoretically, if it's a friend of yours, he probably would already know the code anyway.
Right, okay. Yeah, but you would probably have to do something new or different, you know, just so people could actually know.
But you know what's even scarier with the Google Meets thing is they have it now where people can actually phone call in to Google Meets, and then they can enter in on their touch-tone phone the passkey, and then they come into your panel through your phone handset.
Okay, well, let's put this test. Does anyone else want to come on? Craig, John? Gianni, anyone else to come online and speak and see how this works?
Well, right now I got the other panel open, so they can come on to the regular panel.
All right. Okay.
I have that open
Got
in the
it,
other
got it.
window. I noticed
Yeah,
the Ramalama Ding Dong has kind of given up. Ramalama Ding Dong. If that makes any sense.
It will be frustrating for people, but I mean, it's not your fault the fact that's happening. But
Yeah, but you know what, John? The problem is the trolls. Okay, it's not a matter of getting people to join. After all, I want to, the moderator, that is the host or hostess in this case. The hostess is wants people to join. But the problem is that somebody sends a request and then they hang up, and then they send a request again, and then they hang up, then they send a request again and they hang up. And they're doing it so fast that the hostess can't even answer it. Because they don't want you to answer it.
right, okay.
See,
okay,
that's the problem.
okay.
They don't want you to answer
Yeah.
it. Because if you can answer it, then you can block them. Okay? So that's why they do it so fast. Send a page, hang up, send a page, hang up, send a page, hang up, send a page, hang up. Because they don't want you to answer it. Because
Why
if
do you
they
think that
wanted
is?
you to answer it, they would be waiting for you, like you were, for me to answer it.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to talk to somebody, just log on, click on the link, and talk. Don't be a dick. Simple as.
Well,
It's not hard.
even StreamYards, yeah, you can get the link, just like you can for Google Meet. Does not automatically, you're right there in the panel with everybody else. Because the host or hostess is still got to put you onto the panel. So,
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I see it now.
And then we've seen also with StreamYards is that there is no way to work with OBS. Because to use StreamYards and OBS is you don't want to have StreamYards do the streaming. Because that's where then people can porn bomb you and do all kinds of unsavory
the way
things.
you've done it, Michelle, is probably quite a good way because you've got it facing, unfortunately, your front, if that makes sense. So nobody else is actually seeing it. I would hope that's the case anyway.
Right.
On their screens, because that's the first thing they will do. They will use that to strike.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you've done it that way because
I mean, I made a goof one time, and I was showing something on Discord, and then Yamranch threw porn right at it, and then it was showed right up on YouTube, and of course immediately Streamtown deleted it. Then I had a copy of it sitting over there on Twitch.
Is it really Yam though? I mean, can you prove it's sham? Because I don't see how people can prove it's anyone. I'm not saying I'm a Yam fan because obviously I'm not, but I would say.
Oh no, it's definitely Yamranch. He even confirmed it was Yamranch.
Yeah, but somebody else could be using that name.
No, that's true. Someone could be using his name with his consent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the Yamranch. It's called Rod Stewart on Discord, so that's why.
See, I'm not on Discord, so I don't know. I'm not privy to any of this sort of stuff. So, which I'm glad of. To be honest,
I kind of would like to have you at least on Discord, at least in part, so that we could talk to each other. Even if it was mostly just to allow me to join your Discord.
I don't have any. I don't have Discord, Michelle. I did have one before when I was on, I think, your channel, I think Sarah's channel as well. And I just thought, no, I don't need any of this. So I just stopped. I cut the whole thing off,
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. There isn't really. It's very, very difficult to prove who is doing what, unfortunately, on YouTube or other channels or whatever. And it might be obvious, it might be probable, but again, there's no 100% definition that is the fact that's happening.
Right. Well, the thing is like I said, if that was on StreamYards, I would have been no way to easily block anybody from porn bombing you.
He is still alive.
The way
He is
it
still
is,
alive.
there's no way to disable the camera.
See, that's the issue, and that's why. Not to say that.
But then again, even if they, they can still have an offensive thumbnail too.
I'm not putting that up there. Because I've had enough issues with YouTube over the last 8 years. I'm not going to go through it again. So I just decided to myself, nope, I'll just leave it blank, and that'll be it. And that's fine. If people don't like it, then fine. That's up to them to dislike it. But it's just the way I do things. But yeah, Ross Stewart definitely is still alive.
Yeah, they're still alive.
He lives in Florida now, I think.
You talk about the real Rod Stewart, you talk about the Yam Ranch's moniker, the Rod Stewart.
I don't know anything about that, Michelle. You're asking the wrong person.
Well, all I know is that the other reason I don't use StreamYards is it does not have closed captioning built in, which really is kind of frustration for the Americans with Disabilities Act. That there's no closed captioning built in. Besides that, you only get 20 hours a month for the free account. And somebody said to me, well, why don't you go ahead and create a whole bunch of accounts?
How much
why would I want to do that?
Or how much does it cost normally? Like, say, for example, monthly.
It's like $20 a month to get.
See, to me, I think that's quite a lot of money.
And then, of course, like I said earlier, is I think I kind of overdid it. I think I bought too much data for my mobile hotspot. But then again, it saved my bacon a few times because of the actions of a few select crackers that were causing so much damage. But honestly, it also has taken a huge chunk out of my pocket too. So,
when you say taking a money out of your pocket, do you mean are they begging you for money or something like that?
No, I mean because I have to pay $50 more a month on my cell phone bill for another 50 gigabytes of data.
Yeah, but if you're on something
just so
like
I can switch over to T-Mobile when they're attacking my home internet.
Yeah, but if you're on something like StreamYards and stuff like that, you're always going to get at the same time people saying, oh, can you donate this to me? Can you donate that to me? So it's not just the StreamYards you're paying for.
Right.
It's the donations you're giving as well.
Like I said, the way we do it here is, yes, the people on the panel can see someone's porn bombing you, but the YouTube side of it can't see it. Unless I mistakenly show them the Google Meet screen.
Yeah, but you've done the right thing, and by doing, as I said earlier on, what you've done, you reversed it almost, like in terms of not let people see in it,
He also robs a place dressed like Willie Nelson. Who is this?
Yeah, Gianni. Yeah, it's Crockett. Remember the movie Crocodile Dundee?
Oh, Crocodile Dundee. Yeah, I remember it.
And he robs the bank dressed as Rod Stewart. But yeah, Rod Stewart is very much alive and well, and I think he was even performing, I think, this year. So he's still pretty much on the go. So.
Okay, that's what it's about.
I've never been a huge Rod Stewart fan. I like some of his songs, but I don't like the way he sings it. If that makes sense, it's like. That sort of thing. But I like his tunes. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know much about the music by Rod Stewart, but I do certainly know about the music from Al Stewart, The Year of the Cat.
I don't know that one. Or him. Sorry.
Yeah,
but Croc Stewart,
and also the song, which I don't think is by either Stewart, called Time Passages.
Rod Stewart's actually not even from Scotland. He was actually born in England. but he has a major affiliation with this country. He's a major Celtic fan, which is a big football club up here. And
Okay.
but he wasn't. If you were to talk to him normally, which I've never done, you know, call me old fashioned. He talks like a normal Englishman. He doesn't talk like a Scotsman at all. You know.
Kowalski is in it too. The wife of Stud, the producer of Crocodile Dundee. Okay. I don't know. Is Craig Senior wanting to come on the panel? The other public panel is open, Craig. Right now, because we had some troubles with Ding Dong, we ended up basically closing the other panel. And then once we left that panel, they kind of like left this panel, and then they're like, okay, so maybe we can get some people on the other panel that are responsible, and I'll go over there and check to see if anybody's coming on there. But I don't know if Craig's coming on.
Yeah, he dresses as Willie Nelson. Yeah, I've seen. That was such a good film, actually. A really good film. And I've only ever seen it once, and I was a kid at the time. I couldn't remember much about it, but I remember bits like that, and it was good. It was pretty funny. I think you should watch it, Michelle.
What's that?
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, okay.
Because they've got this part when he's fighting with some guy, and it's like this guy pulls out a dagger on him, and then he goes, "You call that a knife? This is a knife, mate." And he pulls out this massive like machete.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the way I see it though is like I said, as far as my data plan and my cell phone plan, I think I bought too much data. I know someone says, "Ooh, I wish I had your problem."
Yeah, but Michelle, you could always use that data for something else.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like okay, so like I said, when I bought the Wi-Fi, okay, and it works fine for what it is, okay, is I figured 50 gigabytes we were going to be streaming on the phone and doing things like out in the public and stuff with this, and we do, but at the time T-Mobile was giving us this huge chunks of uploading speeds, but they changed their setup, so now their uploading speeds are no faster than Frontier. Okay, so in one sense it's like, wait, you're no better than the home internet?
Is there no way though, Michelle, that you could say to them, well, at the time you gave me this certain deal, so you should stick to that deal, or is it totally obsolete?
Yeah, but like I'm saying, yeah, but do I need to? I mean, because I can change it to less data. I mean, $140 a month.
Right.
If I can guarantee I'm going to be getting $100 a month income in, I would say fine. But the way things are around here, and the kind of up and down yo-yo economy on YouTube, I don't know if I can afford to keep it. That's what it comes down to. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, but if you paid for it, I just assumed you'd paid for it already, so you already had that, So I thought, well, if you've paid for something like that, then it should be in your hands, and you should be able to use it whenever you want.
Right,
until it
it's
runs
in my
out,
hands.
of course,
But I mean, this is like because it's still got to be paid each month $140 bill.
Okay, that's a lot. To me, that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot.
That's a high cell phone bill.
Mm-hmm.
Plus my $40 home internet bill. But I usually stream from my home internet, and I do my cell phone.
Are you paying both of those at the same time? Because that's a hell of a lot of money.
Yes, that's $140 a month right off the top. Because
Okay,
of
see
the
what you're
data
saying
plan
now.
I'm on. So but then again, I looked to see, so how much money would I save if I switched to a lower price data plan? And I said, well, how much data do I really use in a month right now? I'm like, maybe 10 gigabytes, maybe. So I priced
Well,
it.
that's nothing, Michelle. That's nothing compared to what you've got paid for, if that makes sense.
Right, but it actually does offer me another deal. They said, for the
Okay.
same price, you can get 100 gigabytes.
And how much were you getting charged for that?
Right now, for between my cell phone and my Wi-Fi, the plan I'm getting $140 a month between my cell phone and my Wi-Fi. I'm paying which gives me 50 gigabytes. Okay, and they're saying to me and T-Mobile saying, "Hey, would you like another 50 gigabytes more for free?" I'm like,
Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
maybe,
Yeah, but the thing.
but it's not like something I really need. But someone say, "Well, Michelle, take it. It's free."
Hey, Tiger. Can we get Tiger up here? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now I'm paying $1 a gigabyte. So if I get the top tier one, it would be 50 cents a gigabyte.
Okay, that's not so bad, but I would still say it's pretty pricey. It depends on how much you're using, of course. It depends how many times you're streaming.
Right,
Or,
exactly.
you know.
Because, like, I mean, it's.
It should
Am I
definitely
really
be
using
helping
50
out.
gigabytes
That's
right
for
now?
sure.
Do I really need to spend $50 a month for a plan that maybe I might stream only 10 gigabytes one month? But then again, what if I stream 20 gigabytes the next month? You know, what if I stream 5? So, I mean, sure, if it's like a spare tire in a car, right? You know, keep it in your boot there, you know, in case you get a flat. But what happens if you decide to have a car with a very small, little tiny, what they call donut? And all of a sudden, now I got this really cheap donut tire that might get you as far as the nearest petrol station. That's it.
Well, I would say to that, Michelle,
Instead
don't
of a
travel
full
too
size
far.
tire. I mean, which would you better have? Would you rather go buy a full size tire from your local tire supplier for spare? Or would you rather just buy one of those cheap, crappy donuts just to get to the nearest service station?
As I said, it depends how far you've
So,
traveled.
like, I mean, the difference, of course, is a tire versus a donut is you only pay once, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with, with my internet, I gotta pay that bill every month.
Yeah, so you've no choice but to pay that set amount each month.
Yeah. But I can change the plan to a cheaper plan, but then again, it means I'm locked into
That'd be a
that
good
cheaper
thing.
plan for the month. So let's say go down to the 10 gigabyte plan, which comes out to be about $29.99. Well,
Okay, well
once I
that's
use
pretty
up my 10
easy.
gigabytes, right? You're blowing your wad. You spent your wad, right?
Yeah, but you can also
And you
still
say,
at the end of the
but
day,
I need my
sorry
data.
to interrupt.
Well, sorry, you
So,
can't use any more data until next month.
yeah, but Michelle, you could always phone up and say, look, can you give me an extra 5 gig just to get me out of this situation? If that makes
Maybe.
sense.
Maybe. I say maybe because they do have data passes. So, like I said, trying to find a sweet spot where you're not paying too much or you're not paying too little and not getting enough data. That's the question, is finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, Michelle Tiger's on just now, and she just want to say hello. If you want to get her online and just talk as well.
Okay. Well, Tiger Kitty, if you want to come on the panel, Well, Kristen and I are going to talk to Ed about that on Friday.
Should as well paying $400 a month. I wish I could pay 400 piece of it. Okay, so that's pretty tough going. That is pretty tough going.
Yeah. Mint Mobile's another cell
It
phone
doesn't leave you
plan.
with nothing, really.
The only problem is right now is I have an EIP package on with T-Mobile for the MiFi, and it won't be unlocked until I pay off the EIP equipment installment plan. So once that's paid off in full, the $324 remaining balance, which could be paid off if pretty quickly if I can get a steady income coming from YouTube, then I could do it. You know, if I have $100 each month coming in, I could pay off the device in about 4 months' time. And then
yeah, but a steady income from YouTube is something that's not really a thing called steady. You know, it's not really a steady thing.
No, it's not.
It's a monthly thing. You know, you just
Especially
don't know
now
what
when
you're
you
gonna
got
get.
people on your
you know?
channel that are thinking you're not worth donating to. And
No, it's not just that. It's the fact that they're watching your channel as well. I mean, because that counts towards it also. Watch hours, watch time, all this stuff, and you know, you can't just put it down to donations, I would say.
Yeah, it's a variety of calculations that get into it. You
Right.
know, but when you are actually people who saying your channel is nothing but a joke channel, it's a low cal channel, and
well, let them
people
think that,
don't take it
Michelle. That's their
seriously.
problem, not yours.
People are not going to donate to a channel that's like this. They're going to go, well, you know, they're not going to watch the videos. They're not going to. I'm just talking about watch time. Which, in order to bring a steady revenue in, you have to be having like a large number of viewer hours a month and a lot of the click through rate.
And that could change at any time. That could change at any time. I mean, you could look at August or September, and it could suddenly massively watched, like, and then suddenly October it might be reduced a little. But you can't complain. I mean,
and then when you're trying to see what you did that made you do so well, say in August, and then for September, and all of a sudden you don't make it or you don't achieve the same level of success, and you're like, well, what?
That's life, Michelle. That's just life. That's just the way things go. Sometimes you don't make as much as you want in 1 month compared to the last, you know, and vice versa.
Guys, there is no. At this point, there has been legislation that's sitting in Congress, but it has nothing yet been passed for any stimulus checks for anybody.
I want a stimulus check for no reason at all. In fact, for plenty of reasons. I would get one, like, but you know,
we have plenty of reasons why there should be a stimulus check. But the problem is those big fat turds in Congress don't want to pass them. And the Democrats say they're party for the people. No, they're not. They're party for the assholes.
That's incredible. I mean, that is insane.
It is insane.
There's $7,000.
You know, send $270 billion to Ukraine, but you can't send $270 billion to the American people. I don't understand that.
I would love to say what I really thought about this whole situation, but I can't because YouTube being YouTube are just being YouTube.
Yeah.
And you've got to be careful what you say about it because it's like, oh,
right, you can't say this, you can't say that.
You know?
Right. And
I'm personally not interested in Ukraine in the slightest. I mean, even though they're not that far away from us, but I just don't. I have no interest in them at all. I mean, they signed the Minsk agreement in 1991 when they gave up the nuclear weapons back to Russia, and but they also reneged on a lot of deals as well. they're not much better than the Russians themselves.
Well, I'll say this:
Okay, and
the
I'll leave it at that.
eastern
And I'll leave it at that. I
provinces,
won't say any more. I
the
won't say any more.
eastern provinces that voted to go back to Russia should just go back to Russia because they agreed to that.
Mhm.
That should not even be an issue. That shouldn't even be a conflict. Okay? Just the
It would
same
never have been a
situation with
conflict if
Taiwan.
the US and the
fact that
UK
Taiwan is
hadn't
kind of the
stopped
opposite.
interfering.
Because in 1991, approximately, the agreement originally between the British Empire and the Chinese mainland, Chinese, expired, which gave Taiwan, aka Formosa, back to the Chinese mainland. Okay, that was an agreement.
Yeah.
And
Unfortunately,
yet,
I think Taiwan might be the next thing, Michelle.
Taiwan, unlike Ukraine, is the opposite. They don't want to be part of mainland China. They don't like what mainland China is. So they have been fighting to maintain their individuality. Okay? But the difference is between Ukraine and China or Taiwan is that Taiwan, by agreement, is indeed a part of China. Whereas
And
Ukraine,
people are gonna hate me for saying this. Taiwan is part of China, whether they like it or not.
yeah. So I mean, you got a situation basically where you have a reversal, where the case of Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine voted to go back to Russia, and Western Ukraine basically said nope. And what they have a civil war.
Yeah,
This started out with a
but
civil war in.
I think Russia are going too far now. They're just bombing everything. They're even bombing Odessa. And
Oh
Odessa
yeah.
is Western
But now
Europe.
Russia's got to
you know?
worry about revolution inside its own country because of all of this.
It's scary. It's really scary because, see, one stray missile hits Poland or Western Germany or Eastern Germany, sorry, then that's it. You know that they're not going to put up with that. They're just going to go for it.
And now, I guess the Duma are saying that they want to call
Agreed, John.
Vladimir
Agreed.
Putin the equivalent to like king. Excuse me. Didn't you have enough problem with the czars already? What do you want to have another czar for? That's pretty much what they
Yeah,
want to do.
know.
They want
I
to
know.
make Vladimir Putin a czar.
Personally, I mean, I'm no politician, but I would say we went too far with the sanctions. I think we went well too far with it, and I think we're making ourselves suffer because we've placed too many sanctions on them because that's going to reflect back on us.
Yeah, but you know what the problem with the sanctions in? It's hurting us more than it hurts them. Look, back when Russia was behind the Iron Curtain, they were already self-sufficient. They were capable of providing for their own needs for their own people. Before Western started trading with Russia, okay?
Right.
So Russians are rough and tumble. They know how to live without Western goods. Now the problem is at the same time now. We need their grain, we need their gas, and we need their oil. Okay.
Well, they've started to let some of the grain through, but only at like a trickle amount. So it's like.
Well, they just fixed one of the pipelines. I forgot which one it was, but the thing is it doesn't matter because we still need the grain. We're not getting grain from Russia. We're not getting it from, we can't get it from Ukraine because the fields have been bombed out. Okay? But Russia still has a large portion of the grain, and we're not getting any grain for Western Europe from Russia. And as I said, Ukraine's fields have been bombed out, and even if you could get the grain to the market, how? Okay.
But it might teach us a little lesson, as if in a way to say, okay, let's start looking after our own selves, not relying on these people like Russia and China. to
The problem is
survive.
we're too compartmentalized right now, where we are actually depending too much on exterior resources, and that's the part of the problem because we're putting
That's
too
true.
much
That's very true.
reliance.
Right? Yep. You're right.
Same thing with America and China. We get almost all of our products are from China. America
Usually
has no
from Taiwan,
longer
so
the major corporate manufacturing capital of the world as it used to be, right? We used to make everything here. Everything from CRTs to telephones to chips to airplane parts to cars to whatever. Now, a lot of the stuff that we make here or say we make here is just assembled here from parts from China.
I'm gonna sound very democratic here, like not in that way, but I think it's time to sit down, everyone, and actually get the sensible head around the table and talk normally and get people back together again so we can actually work as a world, instead of having split nations and split continents, That's what we need. That's what we need.
But I think also
and Ronald Reagan was probably the best ever at that, in my opinion.
Right, and so was Trump. Trump was doing the same thing. He was one of the first presidents to actually talk to Kim Jong-un in North Korea to try to defuse the situation. And Biden basically totally blew it.
But I think the problem with Trump was because he'd had such a reputation before, by being brash and by being this, that, and the next thing. I mean, not to say he was a bad person. I'd never anything against him. Personally, would I vote for him? No, I wouldn't. But I would have voted for Reagan.
Yeah, but don't forget though.
Old enough back then.
Don't forget though, Trump is a Gemini. And in some ways, Geminis are like that. But at least, unlike Biden, Trump got stuff done. Joe Biden's not getting nothing done.
Yeah, he did to an extent. He didn't put up with any nonsense. He says, "If you do this, we'll do that," and he meant it.
Right.
He really did mean it, and I believe that. I totally believe that. But I would also say that I think Reagan was probably the best president ever. And I was too young to remember him. But looking back in some of the YouTube documentaries and stuff like that, I thought this guy's pretty good. He's out there willing to talk to people, talk to world leaders, talk to President Gorbachev, talk to Margaret Thatcher, and he didn't hide away from anything, Neither did Trump. Don't get me wrong. Of course,
I remember that Trump and Putin have talked to each other, and Putin respects Trump for the fact that Trump stands behind what he says, whereas Joe Biden is just a puppet. And you can see the strings on him. I mean,
but why?
Joe Biden is just a marionette. That's how he is.
Why did people vote for that guy though? Why did they vote for him? Because he's clearly not fit for the task.
No.
I'm talking about Biden.
No, I agree with you. He's not. And the thing is because the Democrats hate Trump so much because he's not part of the status quo. And that's why they vote. That's why they put Biden up there, because they're saying this man is our candidate and he is the status quo.
Because I think I mentioned to this before. This was like, again, sometimes when I'm off and I can't sleep, and that happens a lot. And I looked at a documentary with Joe Biden, and he actually talked really, really quite, normally. He didn't have any of these silly fails and stuff like that.
Right.
He actually really did really well. And I thought, this guy is actually pretty smart.
Yeah, but I think what happened is just, he's 80 years old. He's...
Yeah, well, that's the same thing.
He's starting to slow down. He has senile dementia. And
Yeah, he's
that's a
clearly not all there.
concern.
Yeah.
He's got handlers now that are basically giving him instructions, including to do things simple like how to enter a meeting.
So what would you say? Would you say the handlers are the best people to maybe take over the job, or should we just get Trump back? I would say get Trump
Well, in
back, to be
2024,
honest.
President Trump, if he decides to run, can run for office again, and I'm hoping that Trump will run. Right now, the problem is if we got rid of Joe Biden right now, then he would be stuck with Kamala Harris. And because she can use the 25th Amendment, which saying basically that Joe Biden's unfit to rule.
Okay.
So,
Do you
but
think?
some
Do you
say
think
that
she'd do
Kamala
that? Do you
Harris
think
is
she?
just as inept as he is.
Do you think she'd do that though?
She could do that though, yes. But the problem is, I think she's just as inept as he is. And then the vice president would be Nancy Pelosi.
Well, that's the last thing we need.
Yeah,
That's definitely the last
exactly.
thing we need.
So do you leave a doting old man as president, so at least that we can keep Nancy Pelosi out from becoming the vice president, and a woman, Kamala Harris, who's unfit to even lead? See, now I think, however, there has been rumors. Actually, it was the Simpsons that talked about this, but they said
And
in
they predict a lot of
2028,
things.
they said in 2028 that they think Ivanka Trump would run for president. Ivanka Trump and her husband Kirshner.
Would that go down well though because of her foreign status?
Ivanka Trump was born in this country. You're talking about
Okay.
Ivana Trump.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I always get mixed up. Who's the one that
Right, I
died
know.
recently?
Because Ivanka Trump was the daughter of Ivana Trump, but she was born in this country.
Right.
So the problem is that with this country accept her as the first Republican female president. Now, I respected Ivanka. I thought she was a very smart person. Her and Jared Kushner were very good people. I do not see a reason why they could not be presidential candidate. She's brought up a lot of good ideas to her dad. They talked about things in the Oval Office. They talked about proposals together.
So, would you say your favorite Republican president would be Kennedy and Onassis, Jackie Onassis?
Well, those are Democrats. They're not Republicans.
Okay. See, I always get mixed up with this.
But I know it gets confusing. Okay, but I would say my presidential candidates that I liked was definitely Donald Trump, followed by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's one I liked. When I seen those documentaries, I thought this guy's awesome.
I was actually alive when he was actually president, so
yeah, so was
he
I. But just for
won
about a
both
year,
terms
I think.
because Jimmy Carter in 1978 with they were with the hostage crisis in Iran was absolutely
Was that
a
during the
fiasco.
Olympics?
It doesn't sound familiar. Jimmy Carter had a huge inflationary trend problem. He had the oil embargo going on. Oil price crisis was a fact. Was still sending ripples through the American economy. And he didn't know how to deal with it. And then 1977, he had to deal with the 3 Mile Island issue, which Jimmy Carter did okay with that. Well, within reason, given the fact he had some experience with the situation with nuclear energy. But if you look today, the situation is like Joe Biden is not Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was far a lot better presidential candidate than Joe Biden is.
Yeah. That's obvious. Yeah, that's obvious. Yeah.
Thunderclay said, Michelle, you should play the clip I posted in the news. Discord is really creepy Biden gave a whole speech for 10 to 15 minutes without blinking. I don't think I'm going to play that. It's not 10, 15 minutes. No, that's too long. I'm not going to play that much of a clip on my ear, too, but he talks in a monotone. I definitely think it's the medications talking more than him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because, I mean, as I said to you earlier on, I saw that video where he was talking in 1974 or something like that, and he was so eloquent, he was so on the ball, and then you see this guy like this, and it's like, well,
You don't realize,
okay, what's
you
going on
realize
here?
he depends on his teleprompter for everything.
Well, that might be something, yeah.
That's just it. He's reading a script. He's not... Donald Trump, when he started, didn't even use a teleprompter at all.
Well, the fact that that can be the case,
I think
shows
Donald
you
Trump
that
still doesn't
somebody...
really use the teleprompter that much.
No, I don't think he would need to, because I think he knows what he wants. He knows how things should be run, and
Yeah.
you know that's.
And you know, when
That's how it
Donald
should be.
Trump took his inauguration address, he didn't even use the teleprompter at all. That was entirely off. That was entirely out of his head. He didn't even have it written down as a script. He just basically spoke
Yeah,
eloquently
came out there
without
and
even
said
having
what
a
he
written
thought
script.
should be done and what should be happening in the world and stuff like that, and you know,
And that's
and
the
that's how it
reason
should
why
be.
Donald
That's
Trump,
how
I
it
think,
should
is
be.
so awesome, is because he's a Gemini, and he's outspoken, and he knows what he needs to do. Just as we have a Gemini in our own Discord, our own YouTube here, Tiger Kitty is a Gemini. Bubba Warbucks is a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that Tiger Kitty is certainly an eloquent speaker. When she needs to say something, she makes it clear what she wants.
I think she should be back in action, doing that presidential speeches.
Well, one problem is that maybe she could write presidential speeches, but she wouldn't be able to run for president.
No.
Because she's not an American citizen. You have to be born here as an American citizen to run for president. I could run for president.
Michelle,
but would I really want to?
You've got to do it. You have to do it, Michelle.
I think that would be too much for me to handle that. Trying to be a presidential candidate. Or like, you sit there and you think anxiety is bad enough now running a YouTube channel. Imagine being the president of the United States.
I think it would be a tad stressful. That's all I'm going to say. For anyone, doesn't matter who they are, it can be Trump or Biden. I think it's going to be stressful for anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, like I said, I certainly couldn't do. I would not be able to handle being a president. No. Even if it was a run for first selectman of Winston, I don't think I'd be able to handle it either.
President Delaney, we ask you for $1,000 for no reason at all. Why are we not getting this?
That's kind of what the Pentagon does for the black budget. They just go like,
yeah.
So the Authorization Act, the NDAA, it's like, we'd like to have a blank check, please, for a couple $1 trillion. Like, for what? I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, that's classified. Gee, I guess I'm going to tell you right now that the idea of me giving you $3 trillion is classified, and I'll tell you if I want.
Okay, say President Biden does give you a third stimulus check, right? Would it change your mind on him?
4th stimulus check, considering the first 3 really were from the Republicans, and that's the thing that people forget. Joe Biden didn't actually give you the 4th stimulus check. It was the 3rd stimulus check. It really was already in the works because of Donald Trump. He just basically came in to sign off on the dotted line. So it was already done deal under the Trump administration.
Okay, so it was already like in place.
That's why
type thing.
Biden, unfortunately, had the nerve to gloat and say, "Hey, I gave you a stimulus check too." No, you didn't. That really that was already in effect, ready to go into action under Donald Trump. But you just had to sign it on the dotted line, to get the checks
Just
out to the public.
Yeah, just sign it and that's it. Already, yeah. So it was already like made up type of thing. It was already
Right, it was already
created.
passed on the House and the Congress, or House and Senate.
Mhm.
It was passed
Now,
to the
Tiger's
Republicans.
saying,
It was already there. It was already. He just need to sign and say, "Make it so." It's like Jean-Luc Picard would say, "Make it so." Number one, you know,
now,
that's what he
now
did. And the problem
Tiger's saying
is now he's saying is, "Oh, Trump gave two stimulus checks. I gave one. Actually, it was a total of 4. I'm sorry. So 4 of them really belong to the Republicans. Not
well, Tiger was
Democrats
saying
didn't
it
give
is.
anyone a
Blood,
check.
Michelle. Tiger was saying it's National Scotch Day today. It celebrates the iconic whiskey. Also, it was National Creme Brulee Day,
Okay.
July 27th, which is today.
Cream brulee day. What's a brulee?
Creme brulee. Creme brulee. It's like one of those things where you like you put cream basically into sort of like a ramekin, like a little bowl, and you sort of like torch it, you know, at the top, and to make it sort of crispy, you know, at the top.
Okay.
And it's meant to be nice. I've never
Sorta
had it in my
sort
entire
of like
life.
a flambe kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's quite good that. Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle, your infatuation with Trump blows my mind. For you to call a rich white millionaire an outsider is nonsense. No, because actually that's exactly why the Democrats are afraid of him. Is because of the fact that he's not part of the inner circle of the upper crusties groups like the League of Nations, the Bilderberg group, the group of Davos. Sure, he's done meetings in Davos, but he's not really part of Davos. He's not part of the World Economic Forum. He's not part of the secret society of politicians because he never was a politician.
So, John, he made a lot of money before that. Yeah,
he made a lot of money, absolutely, through working with politicians. For example, one of the most popular things was when he rebuilt the ice rink in Central Park. No one else could do it. He did it. He got the ice rink built. He got it running. You know, and that's something to keep in mind.
He was a very well-known businessman. Even, I mean, I remember, like, I don't know if you guys remember this. I remember I was a kid, and there was a kid called Ryan White, and he died of AIDS. And he came to the funeral with, I think it was Michael Jackson and Elton John and all that stuff. And I'd never heard of this guy before. And I thought, this guy's a really pretty decent guy. You know, and obviously, I think that was maybe one of the earlier times when he was starting to become popular. But this was back in 1990.
Right.
You know,
President Trump was best known for his as the Apprentice in America. Yes, I've seen some of the British Apprentice as well. And
yeah, you're fired.
You're fired.
I've heard that line a few times.
I like the way Trump says it. You're fired. Get out. He said the same thing in the cabinet. You're fired. Get out. That's why so many people in the cabinet kind of left, was because Trump fired a lot of them because he didn't like the way they were doing things. Yeah, but like I said,
But he was always a hard-headed businessman, and that's why he knew how to make money. And he became popular and more popular and more popular, and eventually, obviously, look what happened. He eventually became president of the United States, you know.
And if anybody knows how the United States government works, or at least has a better idea how to run a big corporation, it would be Trump. And he ran the United States government like a business as much as he could. He took his business skills from his Trump Foundation and put it into the United States government. Some of the people didn't like that because it was not business as usual. Yeah, well, anytime a government official says business as usual means basically excuses and hand rubs. But I think Trump did.
I would never, I'll be honest with you, Michelle, I would never have seen him as the President of the United States ever in my life. I just thought he was always someone there to be strong-minded and somebody that like contributed towards his cause or people's cause he supported. And,
I saw him as a potentially good presidential candidate because I saw he's the kind of guy that's not going to sit there and listen to the political tongue wagging. And I was right. And that's the reason why the Democrats hate him, because he is not one of those business as usual political tongue waggers. He is truly believing in what he says. He runs things very efficiently, and that's what it takes. And under the Trump administration, we were doing fantastic. Unlike a Biden administration, which is a train wreck.
Yeah, everything seems to be going downhill just now, that's for sure.
Now the question is can Trump reverse that?
Is that just a case of one person, or is it a case of many other presidents, many other prime ministers around the world, like all combining in the same
There's just no doubt about that. There's definitely is a lot of reasons why the system has gone downhill worldwide. It's not just America either. A lot of people keep thinking it's just America. No, it's not. If it was, maybe Trump could reverse a lot of it, but this is not the case. This is a worldwide problem, and it's going to take a lot of organizing between the world leaders and say, look, guys, we need to work together to deal with these issues. And I don't know how well they're going to be able to do that.
It's going to be difficult.
Absolutely.
It's going to take
That's
a long time.
Understatement of the year.
I still think he will get back in. Maybe not him, but I like the guy from Florida.
Oh, definitely, because the straw poll says if the election was run today, he said that he's got over 54% of the support of the Republican Party, whereas Ron DeSantis only has 23%. This is a poll that was issued around the 20th of July.
See that's strange, because I actually quite like that guy. I actually think he'd be quite good. I think he'd be very good. I mean, what he's in his 50s or something, so he's got both experience and he's still got the things to learn as well.
And he's also got all of his marbles. Let's be honest here. Donald Trump took the competency test. Even though the doctor said, you don't have to do this, Mr. Trump. You don't have to do this. He said, I've got people questioning my integrity. I'm taking the damn test.
That's right.
He took the test and he won. He passed it, no problem. Joe Biden won't even take the same test. He's afraid to.
Because he knows he won't.
He won't win. He will fail it.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see them both on a stage, both actually discussing the current situation, what we're going through right now. I think that would change a lot of people's minds.
Well, what's funny is that Joe Biden wants to run again in 2024. There's been still, even though the Democratic Party is trying to tell him, please don't. His own party does not want him to run in 2024.
Well, if his own party are even saying that, they must have pretty low confidence in him, as a leader,
Because I think the Democratic Party realizes he's too mentally incompetent and unstable to run. Why don't they put up another candidate? Why didn't they put Tulsi Gabbard in? Because she's a dino. Because she's really a Republican, but she's really a Democrat in name only.
Do you think that a lot of that goes on though? Do you think there's a lot of people out there that they'll claim themselves to be a Republican yet maybe a Democrat and vice versa?
Well, I'm a moderate. I'm in the purple party, so I'm kind of in the
Right, fair
middle.
enough.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm kind of like the song. I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. Okay, I'm a little bit
So
Democrat. I'm a little bit Republican, but I'm a moderate. I'm the purple party.
I'm very middle of the road, Michelle. I mean, I think both sides have good arguments. And I think if you can amalgamate them, I know it's very difficult, but I think if you can amalgamate them together, it
Well,
can
right now,
work.
I think what the Democrats have done wrong is they have catered to the far left. And I think
Right,
that has
too much. Yeah,
destabilized
too much.
everything. And then they're accusing the Republicans of catering to the far right. As a
Yeah,
member
I
of
agree with
the
that. I
purple
agree with
party,
that.
that's the center, the moderate, I'm like, why don't we cater to a moderate party? Why don't we cater to the moderates? You need to be a moderate. If you're going to be a good negotiator, you got to look at things from both sides. You can't just say, you're wrong, I'm right, shut up. That doesn't work that way. Because
No, it definitely
maybe
doesn't.
they
Nope.
may have a couple ideas that are right, and maybe you got a couple ideas that are kind of right that where they think theirs are wrong. But instead of saying, I'm right, you're wrong, shut up, I would say, well, let's look at your idea, let's look at your viewpoint. But I'm asking you at the
Yep.
same time to look at my viewpoint. And so then maybe then we can sort of see is can we kind of combine the two together so that we can achieve something. That's
Like
what
Matthew
is needed
Potts
to be
just turned
done.
around and said, we need young people in politics. And that's why I like the guy from Florida. I think he'd be perfect for it.
Oh, I
And
agree. We need young people in politics. Absolutely. We got nothing but a bunch of old farts in there right now. Come on. 75, 80, 85-year-old farts in there. Pelosi ain't no spring chicken. Okay? What they
no,
need
she's not. She's
is we
definitely
need 40-year-olds. And we.
or even people in their 50s. I mean, that's still young enough to
Yeah, I
be.
mean, sure, a 53-year-old presidential candidate, for example, would be fine. But when you're dealing with an 80-plus-year-old man, that clearly is not has quite got all his faculties together. That's a bit of a problem. When you have a Speaker of the House who's 80-something years old, and it's just like in the security chairman or chairwoman Dianne Feinstein, who's 83 years old. These are people that have been in politics all their lives. They have no understanding of what's going on out there in the streets
No, they
because
don't.
they
They
have been
don't.
living in.
Because they're sitting there in their gilded towers and their fantastic homes and their multi-million-dollar mansions and
Oh,
stuff like
absolutely.
that, and they don't care about anybody else, and that goes for both sides, I would say. They don't care. You need some people that are out there on the streets really understanding what's going on in this day and age to actually
The problem is
to
at the
really
same
get it,
time, running for office is an extremely expensive endeavor, and the youngsters today cannot afford to get into office without some kind of help of party endorsements. I mean, Alexandra
Right.
Ocasio Cortez, and a few of the others, Omar and Talib, for example, are younger people that just happen to be lucky enough to get the Democratic parties to support them and manage to win seats in the House of Representatives.
Do you think a lot of that's down to sort of connections and family
Oh, definitely, that
representatives,
has a
or
lot to do with it. Because how are you going to get the
yeah,
finance for the campaign otherwise?
yeah, that's what I've always thought that.
Money,
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
money, money. Always sunny in the rich man's world. That's exactly what it is. There has to be
Right.
money to pay for the campaign, and some money is going to have sponsors. And so, if you don't have sponsors or you're poor and you can't get the, I think 100,000 plus signatures in order to, even be considered by your party,
Hmm.
I don't even see how.
But in a way, Michelle, I would say, I suppose, at least that's democratic. The fact that you can still run at any age. You know, there's so many countries out there that they would stop you at a certain time in life, and they would say you can only do this at a certain time. You can only do that at a certain time. At least it's democratic. So, and that's what we need.
Right now, I think what we need a president that, like I said, is not afraid to rattle the cage. And I think that I think that Donald Trump did that. And that's one of the reasons why all the Democrats get so upset about Donald Trump, because he was rattling their cage. Another person who commented to Google Meets ding dong repeatedly, and he was getting things done, whereas everything that they were doing was the status quo, same old, you know, stuff. And Donald Trump was like getting things done. I mean, even the Republicans didn't all like Donald Trump. A lot of them actually hated
No,
the
of course
guy.
not.
People
Yeah, I
forget
know.
that.
No.
But a lot of the haters, the never Trumpers, kind of came around eventually when they saw he was getting stuff done. And that's what we needed to do. If the Democrats want to save their bacon for 2022 and 2024, here's what you got to do. Number one, get off your ass and pass legislation that's going to help people right now. Forget
Yep.
the Green New Deal baloney for the time being. It's not going to be immediately the biggest concern America wants to worry about. Americans want to know, what are we going to do about the high prices of fuel, and groceries, inflation. We
Oh,
need to
Michelle, I
fix.
think we're all going to have to deal with that at some point. Every single person in this world is going to have to deal with that.
And what's going to happen eventually is that there's going to be a situation where there's going to be a tremendous die off. And if the Democrats don't do anything about it.
Now, Gianni's made a very good point to me, because labour unions don't necessarily have a socialist connotation, which is completely true. It's completely true. It could almost be looked at as communist, and it's not. You know, even socialist is not. It is fighting for people's rights. You know,
Yeah, you're right about the pro-union stance. And I think the problem is that in some ways the labor unions did have and do have an important role historically fighting for worker safety.
yeah,
And
and you need that, Michelle, because trust me, when you are in a see whatever position of job, whatever job you're in, you need to have some sort of like defense,
all right,
you know, so you can't be walked all over. What I don't agree with is when people go too far and
before
they start like, you know,
before the
like,
unions, people like Carnegie, Vanderbilt were absolutely ruthless to their employees, with
mhm.
unsafe working conditions, because everything had to do with money, 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 money. It was a true capitalistic time back in the
Yeah,
1900s through the 1930s, and there was a lot of people that were dying in these industries, and this is where the unions
and
started to become a
they were
thing.
dying. Yeah, they
They
were
wanted
dying.
safer
Yep.
working conditions for the employees. They wanted people to be paid a living reasonable wage for the work that they're doing. And that was really a valid concern. I agree. That there needed to be safety systems, and workers need to have the right to speak up if they're not being treated right.
See, Matthew, you're saying Obama, but I don't think Obama was like the only one that's ever actually went to that degree. We've had plenty of when I say Labour or like left wing socialists, like people that would shut down things and say, okay, if we're not getting paid enough, and people were getting paid a decent wage, but it still was never enough for them. And they were doing it just to cause trouble.
Yeah.
You know, that's just my opinion. You know.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, so the point is the labor unions now, of course, are big giant businesses that basically have become top heavy, if you want to use the word top heavy, because they've got a lot of clout behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, now they're strangling some of these companies. They're strangling their, employers with regulations, along with OSHA. OSHA, in some ways, is kind of like a government solution to supporting the unions with safety.
Right. Right. Right.
But
That's
there has
exactly
to be
what's
some
happening.
safety
Yeah.
standards in place because of so many employees, like I said, back in the 1900s to the 1930s, were being placed in very dangerous situations, and they needed to have safety systems in place.
But it also happened, Michelle, in the 70s and 80s in this country or this continent when you had Russia on your back doorstep saying, if you don't do this, and
yeah,
it's like, well, we might decide to launch such and such at you. And now look where again. We're back
yeah,
in the same situation,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And the thing is that I think right now is, if we're gonna get any of the situations resolved, like I said, is whoever becomes president in 2024. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't just listen to one side's views of a situation. Listen to both sides and look and see if there's a way you can find a middle ground. That's the whole point of the Purple Party, the moderates.
Yeah,
We're the ones that we're
100%.
going
And
to
when you
go, let's look
when
at
you
this.
mentioned when you mentioned Purple Party, at first I wasn't too sure what you meant, but then when you were talking about meeting the middle, I totally understood that. Because I think it's impossible to have things work left or right. You have to have a mixture of both, but they also have to be, I don't know what's the word to say. Um, they
Yes,
have
even
to
plots, it
be,
may not be normal, but in this day and age, it is essential to do that.
they have to be,
You need to work
they have to be
together
intentional.
and find a reasonable combination for both sides. You have to do that. We
It
see
doesn't
when you
work either
happens when you
way,
go too
left or
far
right.
to the left. We see what happens when you go too far to the right. So we need to find a way to kind of find the middle ground and work together towards that.
You definitely have to. You definitely have to because it's impossible to work one way or the other. Like because there's going to be so many millions of people against of one idea, and there's going to be so many millions against the other idea. So you have to have people that can sort of like talk together and actually meet in the middle to a degree. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. That's a fact. That's just life anyway. But you have to have at least most people thinking that way.
Yeah. And of course, like
That's
this
just the way
thing
I feel,
about,
Michelle. I mean, I don't. I mean, everyone else has got the right to their opinion. That's complete enough. But that's just the way I've always felt.
it's funny you should mention that because you know what? Right now, those were the far, far right that were on the January 6th. Okay? Those are the far right. Oh, yes, and the far left were there too. But you know what? let's talk about the people that we actually elected into office. We see this even now in the Senate. Right now it's 50-50. 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats, with the tiebreaker going to Kamala Harris. How come we can't work together as and screw this reconciliation garbage and come up with a legislation that everybody can accept? They finally did pass something about gun reform, which is good. But why can't we do the same thing with the stimulus bills? Why are we so dependent? Why are they so hell bent on using the Build Back Better stimulus side of it as a reconciliation act? Why don't we just make it into a general bill, bring it to the floor, let the Republicans vote on it, work with the Republicans instead of throwing the Republicans in the corner and say, we don't want to deal with you guys.
Well, here's an example, Michelle, right? I disagree with guns in any country, right? That's just who I am, right? However, I do believe in somebody's right to defend their household.
Right, especially if
whatever
you're
means.
defunding the police department.
Exactly.
If you're going to defund the
exactly.
police, then people are going to need to defend themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's either one of the two. Either you have a strong police force that is there for the citizenry of your city, or you're going to have to allow people that can have their own guns and defend themselves.
So I would say, in that respect, you could have tasers instead of guns, and that way,
Yeah, but tasers
you know,
is just basically just kind of, unfortunately, have a habit of killing people too. They're not exactly Mr.
no,
Harmless.
they stun them. They stun them.
And they basically, once those barbs get stuck in your skin, as an ER doctor says, we have to cut them out of your skin.
I would actually let them cut them out of skin, just for more punishment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't believe in killing someone else. You know, I just don't believe
I
in
don't
it.
believe in
I just don't
killing
believe
people either, but I'm saying is that sometimes, you have to make the supreme sacrifice. It's not something anybody, most sane people will agree with me when I say this. The thought of taking someone else's life is not something that one does for lightly. They realize it's a
No,
serious thing.
No,
that,
because how can you forgive yourself? I mean, how can you like say to yourself, "Oh my God, I've done this to someone else. I've actually taken somebody else's life," and I personally couldn't. You know, I personally couldn't do it. You know, so
yeah.
I'd rather maybe as I said earlier on, stun someone, and but I'd make them suffer, of course. You know, but again. Again, it
No,
comes back to the
actually,
middle of the
Matthew
team.
Potts. There was the 3 stimulus checks. You're right. There were 3, not 4. I kept thinking it was the 4th. There was going to be a 4th, but the Democrats messed up on that one. The 3rd stimulus check was already in the works. It was already passed by the Senate and the House, and the acting president, which is Joe Biden, just had to sign it into law, and he signed it into law. But it was actually originally created by the Republicans, and so really, but when his own party was going to pass stimulus, they can't. They're too dysfunctional to even come up with a solid plan, even with the reconciliation policies.
See, that's a problem as well, right? It's like if you were to give another stimulus check out, right? The governments of all the world have either given stimulus or furlough checks out to people.
Some of them
getting it
still are
back,
giving
it's
them
going to
out.
mean
Some governments in the world are giving them out still.
yeah, but it's going to mean huge taxation, and that's going to make our lives, even with what's going on in Ukraine and stuff like that, and the cost of living, and it's going to make it so much more difficult. to
Right.
actually get back on their feet again. You know, it's going to take a
But what
long
burns
time.
me up is that we can give a stimulus check to Ukraine, but we can't give a stimulus check to America. That
Listen, Michelle, as I said earlier on, I totally disagree with it as well. So I
Craig
don't agree with it at
says.
all.
So it goes back to what Gianni said first. He says Trump shows he was anti-union and the building of Trump Tower. Well, that's fine. Let's be honest. The unions had a purpose, but many of them have kind of outlived their purposes. Matthew Part said, but some of the people that were at the Capitol are actually running for office across the country. That's true. Some of them are. Matthew Ports, Trump sent out 2 stimulus checks. Biden sent out the one. He just signed the third one. He didn't actually pass it with the Democrats. That was already in the works by the Senate and the legislature usually under Republican control. Craig Sr. says, Johnny, sorry about the above statement. Was meant for you as the Empire State Building was built in record time and everyone said it couldn't be done. And then King Kong came and broke the tower.
Gosh.
Yeah, that's a funny thing with the King Kong movie. Will be forever always remembered with being the Empire State Building.
I've only ever seen clips of that movie, but it always looks really. At first, when I was a kid, when I first seen the clips, I was like, "Oh my god, that's scary as hell." But then you look at later on, you know, like when you're older, and it's like, okay, this just looks really silly, you know. It's like,
well, being it's a classic movie, I'm surprised you don't see we can find it on a classic movie channel or something. It may even be on Netflix.
we will have something there, Michelle. Trust me. There'll be something on it, on Netflix or.
Craig, I am reading the chat. So yeah.
Yeah, but Michelle, I'm going to go and get some dinner. So
yeah,
it was a
it's
fantastic
just
chat.
about time for us to wrap it up too.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
still
see how many
suffering from a
people
little
here.
bit of
Let's
food
say we
poisoning
did
here,
really
so
well today.
no, I'm not too excited. You know,
We did very well today. I'm actually very happy with the way it went. We had reached out. We had a good conversation. We got some good dialogue going.
yeah, it was good fun.
To me,
It was
that's
good
a big
fun.
deal. You know that we achieved something that I wanted to do, and
Awesome.
so I hope to hear from you tomorrow, most likely.
Listen, Michelle, Craig was saying you have many people in the chat that are making comments. Could you please read them? I mean, yeah, she probably could.
I
Craig,
am reading
you know,
your
she
comments,
probably could.
guys. You have many people that are making comments. Could you please read them? Yes, I will right now. All right, so for now, Andrew, I want to say thank you for being out. I'll see you on here tomorrow.
You're welcome. Yeah,
All right.
we'll actually be on tomorrow
All right.
because there's no way I'm going to feel like this. I feel like garbage.
Yeah.
But I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But you guys all have a good day and take care and love
Right.
you
And
all.
by the way, for the people on I am reading the comments, guys. By the way, I gotta have to get caught up here. I've been reading them. So yeah. So I've been reading the comments. It's just what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that there's a lot of things going on for politically speaking. Alright, so now I can take a look if there's any comments that stand on here. Cheers, I'll take care. I'll see you soon, Andrew. See you tomorrow. And I'm looking at your comments, guys. I am reading the chat. In fact, I did read so far a lot of this stuff in between. So the thing is like I said, is if we're gonna get anything done, like I said, we gotta sit down and hear both sides and come up with something that both sides can agree on. That's what I said earlier, and I still believe that. And if we don't do that, if we can't work together to work on a solution, then we're just basically deluding ourselves. I'll be on tomorrow. Says, let's talk about something less serious then. Okay, we can try. We can try. But unfortunately, I've always been a very serious person. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm terrible with comedy. Because I'm too pedantic for my own good. I'm always been too serious. You know. But anyway, so does anybody here have any questions? Because it's almost getting time to wrap it up. It's already 12:09. I don't know, but if there's anybody who wants to bring up something real quick, well, remind everybody Friday night. Oh yes, live stream at 7 o'clock Friday night and Saturday night will be a live stream as well, because it'll be cooler both nights. Are you still sure that's the case, or did the temperatures change? Good check. Let's check that right now. Right now it's 27 degrees right now. Friday says it's going to be 27. Saturday says it's going to be 27. So, about the same temperatures right now. So, yeah, I think we're going to definitely have a couple awesome things going on here. Devin Clee said, I enjoyed all the sexy banter between you and Francois. Say, oh, I think it was more of an enlightened discussion about things that are, two minds that are looking at a problem and talking about the issues at hand. And some people enjoy that kind of conversation. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. Sure, I like to have fun too, but I'm not really that good at making fun. But I mean, it's just something I enjoy doing. There's 2 Joe Bidens. There's literally 2 people. Yeah, I've heard that. I think there might be more than 2, but I guess it could be. There might have been, even Trump may have had a double too at one point. Michelle, when people are hitting around and saying that makes everybody happy, when people are hitting around and saying that makes everybody happy, you have the capacity to be funny. Just put some music on and boogie around on camera. It wouldn't have to be music that's gonna give me copyright strikes. Oh, it reminds me, Silvermoon Radio. Yeah, I might as well remind you guys, I plan to get that series going back up in 7 o'clock on Sunday nights on Discord. Will be Silvermoon Radio in September. I don't know exactly what day or what when we're gonna start with the Silvermoon Radio show, but we will be going back to those. Also, on the I think they said the 28th, the new Wrath of the Lich King Classic will be released by Blizzard. I already am trying to establish a group to go in to play World of Warcraft with. If you're interested in playing World of Warcraft, please email me or contact me on Discord, and we could show you what servers and we're going to be playing as. So to contact me, it's right there, but also the link's also in our description of this video. So if you missed the link, you can just go back and look in the description. The email's there too. So the only thing you have to do is, if you want to join us playing a World of Warcraft, is to have your own account set up to play on the American servers. We play on either Azure Song or Wistful in Classic, and Thunderlord and Windmist Accord in retail. So if you want to join us either on Listful or Azure Song Classic, that's fine. If you want to play with us on retail, it'll be either Thunderlord or Windmist Accord. So, and Windmist Accord in retail, I play Horde. On Thunderlord, I have both Horde and Alliance characters. On the Classic, all my characters are Alliance. So if you want to join us, that'd be fun. Because we can't have it on Silvermoon Radio on YouTube because of the copyrights. We had done it on Twitch for a long time. We've done it on Twitch. We're fine on Twitch. But I think the Discord and maybe Twitch would work the best. Because we can't afford to take any copyright strikes. And I can't afford to license every single song from the internet for Silvermoon Radio. So that's the reason, because of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Now, if they ever change the act, that would be very different. But, so the point is that we're going to be, again, having World of Warcraft again, starting closer to the end of the month of September. Silvermoon Radio probably will be starting close to the end of the month of September, probably right after Mabon. If I pull up the calendar, I can tell you exactly when. So let's take a look at the calendar here. September. Let's see here. Alright, so Mabon is on a Thursday. So maybe Sunday on 7 o'clock on the 25th. And October 2nd, we'll probably also do Silvermoon Radio 2 days ahead of time. So, and that way we can, and those will be on Discord, and they might have them on Twitch too. So that's something I'm looking forward to. It'll be on a Sunday, like it was before. Okay, guys. Again, I want to say thank you for watching this. I appreciate you coming. Please do check out the tarot card readings for the air and earth fire, or air and earth zodiac signs yesterday. I gotta do fire and water today. So I'm gonna try to get those videotaped by today. So for the period of the 26th of July through August 2nd. So displays the serpents. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. On the state, on the local level, it could be easier to do that. But it's going to be a hard upward battle, Brian K. Because Jay Case is already working on it on the state legislature. We need to continue to get things done now more on the federal level as well. So that's where we need to do it at all levels. Now, Well, right now, I think it's time to get ready to wrap it up for today. I want to say thank you guys for watching this. I want to see you guys, like, tomorrow. Of course, also Saturday or Friday. Yeah, Friday, me and Krista are supposed to be going live. Don't know where we're going to go live. We might go live from the laundromat. We might go live from McDonald's. We don't know yet. Okay? Again, this is where our little Wi-Fi comes in handy. Because that way we don't clog up their internet over there at McDonald's. Setting out all the data streams. But for now, I want to see you guys later. Stay out of trouble. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. This is like a 16-inch grinder. Hope you're hungry because you're going to be eating a lot of it. No. I don't need them. Why would I want to have to put money
Well,
into
I know you don't need it. Well, because you might want a big whopper.
These are the real deal, baby. These are real.
But you wouldn't want, you've seen Rosie. I mean, they're massive.
I know. I know. But then again, we also see, like, other people that got those things. What happens is after you get to be a certain age, everything sags. And of course, we have the tools of trade, the fame, the calendar, the clapper. Let's call the spirits back real quick.
Gauntlet 1. Versus. Fight. That's how we take care of those pests.
Ow! Oh, that's gonna hurt. Alright. And thank you very much for watching. Stay out of trouble, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning, normal time. Yep. Okay.